Alright guys, today I'm going to show you a little bit about kneading dough. Um, Believe it or not, it's kind of hard to find some good videos on information about kneading dough. Um, so I figured I'd put it kind of all in one place right here. So I'm going to start with like a lower hydration dough. This is a clip from one of my older videos on how to make thin crust pizza at home. And what you do basically after you mix it in the bowl, pop it on the table, you first work on the portion or partition farthest away from you. You basically stretch it away from you, and then you roll it back and you get the partition that's closer than the first partition, and do it again. Roll it back, get the partition that's even closer, roll it back till you get all the way like that where I rotated 90 degrees, and I do it again. So you can see that's the partition farthest away from me. I stretch it away from me, I roll it back. Now I'm at the next partition. I do the same thing. And I'm not using a crazy amount of pressure or muscle. I'm just lightly pressing with my palm or kind of the pads by my thumb close to my wrist area, so on like the lower part of your palm. And yeah, you can see I also, whatever sticky wet sides come out, I just use that to grab the remaining flour, and I keep on doing that system. This is good for doughs that are anything up to about 65 to 70% hydration, depending on your flour. For instance, 65% hydration with like a weak 00 flour or all-purpose flour might start to get sticky, but 65% with like a high gluten flour won't be very sticky, and it'll be easy to get right into this. So once it gets really sticky, you have a couple options. Like if it's right on the cusp of where it just started to get sticky, it's a little too sticky to just hop right into kneading like that, but not insanely sticky. What I would actually do is, once you get it mixed to where there's no dry flour, I would just cover it and let it rest for like 10 minutes, and then come back and see if you can knead it in this method. If not, you're going to want to knead in the slap and fold or French method or Bernadette method, which I'll show you guys in a little bit here. So here's a sped up version of the dough coming together. Yeah, I think I just looked at the clock, but I usually knead anything I'm kneading for about 8 minutes. But yeah, so here's another kind of method. Once it all comes together, it gets really tight in a ball, I just roll it back about halfway, push away, turn it 90. So yeah, I push away, roll it back up, push away, roll it back up, turn it 90, and I kind of just keep doing that. And what that does is give you like an even gluten network too, and it helps make sure that you're adequately kneading every part of the dough, so you're not like favoring one half and the other half is getting a different development. But yeah, you can see now it's starting to look a lot more like a dough. It's nice and smooth. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the low hydration dough. But for any dough I do, once again, I do 8 minutes of kneading. I do 8 minutes of mixing in a machine for the most part. But you can do up to a max, I would say 15 minutes if you want to develop a little more gluten. If you're using a machine, I would max out at like 12-13 minutes if you want it to be a little tighter. After that, you might overwork the dough or overheat the dough. So yeah, I'm doing the last few kneads here. And then with every dough, after I knead it, for me 8 minutes, I will let it rest for about anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes, just like that, with the smooth side up. And you can see it still looks shaggy, but I'll come back to it. I'm going to let it rest, let the gluten rest naturally, and then I'm going to do what's called building tension. So you'll see that in a little bit. I'm going to edit the video so I can skip up to that part. So after I give the dough anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes, I'm going to flour the top and flip it over. I'm going to kind of do 4 folds from the outside to the middle like that. And try to squeeze it together a little bit. Flip it back over. And what I'm doing is I'm going from 3 o'clock position, not all the way on the work surface or the table. And while touching the dough the whole time, I'm going to go to the 12 o'clock position. And I'm going to pull the whole thing back, trying to build tension on the surface, which I'll abbreviate as building tension. I think this is a pretty necessary step that can add structure to your dough before balling it up. And I usually let it rest again for anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the dough. Some will go straight into bulk fermentation, so it won't get balled. But if I plan on balling it right away, I'll probably give it anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. Another way is to hold your hands like 10 and 2. We want the dough to stick to the table and just do circles like that. So the bottom of the dough sticks to the table. And you should get a pretty smooth surface by the end of it. But if it's not perfect, you don't need to fret, basically. Like even mine is absolutely not perfect, but it definitely helps. So yeah, this one I guess was going into some kind of bulk fermentation. So yeah, next up I will do I think next one I did is 72% hydration, just to make sure it got into the sticky world a little bit. I'll show you how to do that. So when your dough is really sticky and high hydration, you're going to do what's called the slap and fold. You're going to want to wet your hands first, and then you're going to grab the dough by the side underneath, pick it up, smack the bottom, fold it over, just like that. Turn your hands 90 to pick it up again, and repeat. See how I always pick it up 90 degrees? And you're going to basically pick it up. You're going to smack the side that's on the bottom to the ground, or to the table, and fold over. So that top side should stay on the top after every slap and fold. And you want to do it fast, and you want to do it pretty hard. The faster you make your movements, the less likely the dough is to really stick to your hands. And at first, it's going to break apart and look really shaggy, but it'll come together really nice. So this is for doughs that are like in that 65 to 70 range, and up to probably about 80 hydration is where this works with. After that, you kind of have to go into a no-knead technique. Even at 80 sometimes you will. But basically, it'll become more of like a batter, and this will just turn into a giant mess on your table. So yeah, like I said, don't worry about the dough sticking to your hands or the dough being sticky, because after a while, when you do it, I do 8 minutes, just like I do for a lower hydration. It will come together really nice. But you want to do fast movements. You want to do it hard. It should make a nice thud on your table. It really helps. So yeah, you can kind of see it getting stretchier now. It looks a lot like a smoother dough. But I'm slapping it hard. I'm folding it fast. So it's a slap fold, slap fold, slap fold, turn, slap fold, turn, slap fold, and yeah. So that's basically it. It's one motion over and over again for about 8 minutes. You're going to do the same thing as before, where you let it sit for anywhere from like 3 to 15 minutes, and then you're going to come back and build tension again, which I will show you again. Alright, so here I'm grabbing some bench flour. My dough is sat for anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes or so. I rub it on the top. The wetter the dough, the more flour you're going to want to use for this. And sometimes you need a bench scraper to get it off of the table. And you're going to want to flip it upside down. And you're going to do it again where you take the outsides and fold them into the middle. And do that till you have somewhat of a ball. The flour on the top helps it spin like that without sticking. But then you want to put the sticky side back down on the table and you want it to stick to the table somewhat. So once again, you're not all the way touching the table. You're on the dough, and you're going from 3 o'clock to 12 o'clock and pulling back towards you, basically putting your hand underneath the dough, trying to have the bottom still stick to the table. And you repeat and repeat that, and you can see this is now a very smooth, beautiful ball of dough, and that's going to bulk fermentation. Alright, so now I'm going to go into the no-knead method, and this is where you put all your ingredients together, and you're going to do what's called a stretch and fold, and you can also do a coil fold, which I will show in this as well. But first you're going to want to mix everything together, and this is for those doughs, especially the ones I mentioned that are like 80% hydration and above, because if you try to slap and fold these, you will make a giant mess all over your table. Depending on the type of flour, like 80% hydration with whole wheat flour isn't actually that high of a hydration really at all. You might not even need to slap and fold it. You might be able to hand knead that. But with a white flour, 80% hydration is getting steep. Okay, so I added my oil, and then I go and finish mixing. But yeah, the main goal is just to get all your ingredients together and mix till there's no dry flour, and then you literally just wait 30 minutes. This is very common for sourdough bread, or for focaccias. Just make sure, if you're doing this, that you don't have too much yeast in your recipe, and if you do have a lot of yeast in your recipe, have those 30-minute intervals between stretch and folds in the fridge. But here yeah, this is a yeasted dough, but it's not that much yeast, so I don't what's it called, I didn't go in the fridge. But if you do need like a really quick same day dough where you're using a stretch and fold technique or no knead technique, watch your dough temperature essentially. So yeah, I just mixed everything together. I didn't really do any real kneading, and in 30 minutes I will come back for the first set of stretch and folds. So I of course had a poor editing game at this point, because this is all stuff I would edit out. But yeah, I will cut back to when I do the stretch and fold. Maybe I was talking, I don't know. Alright, so after waiting 30 minutes, some gluten will have developed just over time from basically an autolyse. Not a true autolyse, because that would be just flour and water. But you wet your hands and you pull up towards you and fold it back over the middle. And you basically go around in a circle. Usually you would just need like 4 or so. The more hydration you do, the more folds you might want to do. So then now I'm on the second fold, 30 minutes after that. You can see it looks smoother already, and some more gluten will have developed. This once again is a stretch and fold. Oh, never mind. I think I'm going to show you guys a coil fold. So, oh, yep, I remember this video. So I did some pizza, and some was for a focaccia or Detroit style, so I could show you both stretch and fold and coil fold. So the coil fold is next, and once again you're going to want to wet your hands or oil them depending on what you're doing. I wet them for this, and you pull up the sides and you basically make a coil, like you'll fold it back away from you. Yeah, and you just basically fold it over itself. You'll notice the first time you do it, it's really stretchy, and then after that it tightens up again. If you look at that, that's a very smooth dough now. And it's for focaccia. So then over here with the rest of the dough, oh, I didn't think it was weighing enough. We'll see. With the rest of the dough, I do some stretch and folds, it looks like. I think oh, okay. I definitely confused myself in the making of this video. But yeah, I wonder if I can find a better example of a coil fold. This is essentially the idea, but I probably could do some more. Anyway, that's the idea. So now I go and I do a set of stretch and folds on that dough. That's the one that's going to be used for pizza. And yeah, since I removed it from the bowl, it's not as easy. So I got to pick it up, make sure it really stretches a little bit. And then both of those I'm going to wrap and give another 30 minutes. And I believe I come back to this. We will see. Yep, so that's for the focaccia / Detroit that I did. I like to use oil almost whenever necessary. Good olive oil. And once again, oh, here we go, fold number 3. And for this one, I'm oiling my hands. So you don't want to mix oil and water. There you go. So that's how you do it. You fold it over itself, and then you fold it like that. And you can do the same thing. And notice I'm more gentle the farther along I am in the no-knead process. So on stretch 1 and 2, I might really try to stretch it, but 3 and 4, I'm going to be a lot more gentle with it. I do want to stretch it, but I don't want to rip it. I don't want to degas it. I want it to be a nice dough. And then another stretch and fold for that bad boy. And this principle of the stretch and fold is basically based off letting time do a lot of the kneading for you. So this concept does apply to every hydration of dough. For instance, let's say you have a 55.5% hydration dough that you're hand kneading. If you can just get it to the point where there's no dry flour, you can knead it for, you can walk away for 10-15 minutes and come back, and it'll be more pliable to be able to knead more. And you'll only need a couple more minutes of kneading after you let it rest for 15 minutes. So I think I'm doing a coil fold with this. I think we'll find out. All right, I might have underestimated my folds there. I only did 3 folds, not sure. So I'm building tension on this. Folding in towards the middle again. I might just be rolling this into a pizza dough already. Yeah, so I guess my 4th, because I'm not dividing it, I didn't give it another fold. You can't really see it, but I'm just grabbing it by hand and doing it. Yeah, building tension is very similar to balling your dough. If you can pick it up and ball it, that would be essentially the same thing. But the way I was showing you, where you flip it over, fold towards the middle, and then do it that way, is actually another way to ball your dough. So yeah, I guess I throw that in the fridge. I'm not sure what I don't remember this video too much, to be honest. I think it was just a at-home New York pizza video. And then this guy, I guess I gave it one more fold. Yeah, I guess I considered rolling it in my last fold, which is fair, or balling it. But yeah, nonetheless, I gave 30-minute increments each time. Yeah. So yeah, coil folding, you can do it this way where you turn it 90. It keeps it kind of even. But you can just fold it right over itself too. You can literally keep folding it into a coil, is why they actually call it a coil fold. And so I make an attempt to get this old piece of wrap back on it. I think I left it overnight or something like that. But yeah, that's for the other video. Yep, then I shaped that. You guys seen this video. This is 80% hydration at home is the video.